Yo, welcome back to Fighting with Friends. It's your boy, Brother Guy, back again. Today we will be doing a One Championship news segment. We're breaking down some of the latest news coming out of One Championship. Today our main headlines are going to be around the 126 fight card as well as the 173 fight card because there has been some updates for those two fight cards in particular. But before I get into it, please drop a like on the stream, have a share and a comment. Let me know your thoughts about these upcoming fights that we're going to be talking about. I'd love to get your thoughts on them because there are big matchups, particularly with the Asian community. I'm sure you guys know a lot more about the Masaaki Noiri and Rukiya Anpo sort of rivalry between the two of them going back 4 years ago. But okay, let me get straight into it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna bring up on screen my first topic of discussion. It is the 126 Friday fights card, which will be taking place. What's it? Next Friday. This Friday we have in 125. So next Friday we will have this current fight card that you can see on screen. So I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. This was obviously posted on Tetsuya's account on X. Give him a follow. I will drop the links to all of the stories I'm talking about today in our description box. So you can simply go and click on it yourself and give your perspectives in the comments on the X post as well as on this video. So no surprise, this fight card is sold out. Absolutely not surprised. I think it was sold out 2 weeks ago already. And I'm really not surprised. But I'm just looking at that list of fighters right there. Right, literally all of those fighters that you see on screen right now are pretty much capable of fighting on a fight night or a pay-per-view event and filling up the card. So this fight card, as it looks right now on screen, could easily have been a fight night event. Easily. The only difference is here is that there's no title fight on the fight card, and that's probably why we have it as a Friday fight. But super stoked. Elias Enahachi versus Nabila Nan. I personally don't think that this fight actually should have been made. I really don't like. I thought about it and I was like, why? Why? You know what I mean? It's also a kickboxing fight, by the way, and that's where Jonathan Agadi is still the current champion. And he doesn't have a fight. And I was just thinking, why don't you just make him fight Nabil Anan? You know what I mean? They're both champions. I know the one's the Muay Thai champion. Let him throw down. And then what they could have done for 173 is champion versus champion, right? You could have had both belts go on the line. Or actually, you can't go both belts because the one's kickboxing, the one's Muay Thai. But let them fight in kickboxing. Let the title go on the line, and then yeah, we could have had a champion there. But okay, that's not the fight that they're gonna make. This is the one. And also Elias Enahachi, he was supposed to fight last year against Petanong, and he didn't make weight in that fight. And then I haven't seen him since. But now he's back. And his first fight back is literally against the champion. Look, in terms of the kickboxing rankings, Nabil Anan is not in that. Well, he's in the top 5, but he's. Let me just double check. But I think he is just outside of the top 5. I'm not sure. Let me just double check that. Yuki Yoza, Bantamweight Kickboxing, Bantamweight Kickboxing. Yeah, he's not even in the top 5, which is mad. Jonathan Agiri champion, Demon Blade number 1, Elias Enahachi number 2, Petanong number 3, Hiroki Akimoto number 4, Super League number 5. That's obviously going to look different. I think it should be updated. I mean, most likely we'll have Yuki Yosa in that top 5. Petanong lost to him, so he might even come out of that top 5. Woiro is fighting Akimoto at 173. So a lot of these divisions, even the Muay Thai the Bantamweight Muay Thai, even that division is pretty much locked up in terms of who's fighting who, right? So, yeah, maybe that's why they put this fight together. I would have actually gone Enahachi versus Pitch. I know Pitch just lost to Yuki Yoza, but that was a fight that was supposed to happen, and they could have easily rematched that fight. You know what I mean? But okay, we are here now. It's going to be a good test for Nabil because I do think Enahachi is probably the dark horse of the division. I know we have Yuki Yoza there, and we're all riding the coattails of Yuki Yoza going out there and dominating the division and pretty much becoming the new talk of the town when it comes to that division. But I will say this: people forget about Enahachi and what he did. You know what I mean? If my memory serves me well, he was the only one to beat Super Leg. No, he lost. Yeah, he was the only fighter so far to beat Super Leg. I know Nabil's beat Superlek as well, but Nabil beat Superlek when Superlek didn't have a very good training camp. He didn't make weight. He was sick. It's not all those excuses, but it wasn't a healthy Superlek, right? When Anahachi fought Superlek, Superlek was healthy, and Anahachi beat him. So yeah, I think we need to put some respect on his name because to beat Superlek is no small feat. That's one of the most difficult things to do in today's striking combat sports, right? Whether it's Muay Thai, kickboxing, he's arguably the toughest fighter for anybody when it comes to that 125, 135 pound division. Like he's the hardest guy to beat. So yeah, and actually to take him out says a lot. And I think this is going to be a tough test for Nabil. I really do. I deep down, I think Nabil will beat him, but I think it's going to be Nabil's toughest test for the first fight that he had against Superlek. I think this will be his toughest test. Hopefully, next week, Anahachi makes weight. Nabil always makes weight for some reason. So hopefully, Anahachi makes weight this time and he's healthy and we can have a very, very good showdown between top tier kickboxers and Muay Thai practitioners. I can't wait for that fight. I'm not going to give a pick now. I'm not going to break it down into too much detail because I will be doing that again next week. But just want to talk about some of the fights on the fight card, which I'm really, really, really excited for. Obviously, Shadow steps in on a late replacement against Liu Mingyang. Tawan Chai, unfortunately, injured. I don't know what the injury is. There's talk that he might even make it for the 173 card. I don't know. I'm not too sure who he will get if it does happen. But I do think that we will see Shadow compete for a title very, very soon in his career. And I think he's gonna beat Liu Mingyang. I really do. I know it's kickboxing, which will favor Mingyang, but I also think that Shadow is like reaching into that bracket of fighters now where he's considered larger as one of the most potent fighters in the organization. I mean, he's gone on a 6-fight win streak at the moment, literally knocking out some of the best guys that you will know. And the fight against Pampara, I really thought Shadow was going to lose that fight. I really thought he was going to lose that fight, and he went in there and he walked it. He walked it pretty easily. Now I know that there's still fighters like Mohammed Jonas Rabah that he could basically fight again, because obviously how that fight didn't end really well. But that's a talk for another time. Shadow's moving on to bigger things at this point. So Shadow gets a win over Liu Mingyang, puts him in a seat where he could pretty much ask for any fight and the organization will give it to him. You know what I mean? Whether it's Muay Thai or kickboxing, he wins this fight, he goes right up there. He goes right up there in the featherweight division for both kickboxing and Muay Thai. Literally puts himself in that position there. He's already considered to be the next guy in line when it comes to the Muay Thai title. You know what I mean? So if he wins over someone like Liu Mingyang, he's arguably going to be the next guy in line again. You know, and that's where Shadow's at. And I don't even think he has to rush for that. He's only 25 years old. There's literally no rush for him to go and do that. But if he keeps fighting the way he's fighting and he keeps performing in that manner and beating the names that he's fighting against, he's becoming undeniable. He's becoming undeniable at this point. So I'm looking forward to that matchup, of course. And then we have Muay Thai versus Anta Kasim, massive fight. I don't know why I thought they fought before, but they haven't. So yeah, this is also going to be a crazy, crazy warfare. And I think it's going to be a tough fight for Anta Kasim, for both guys, right? Because both of their styles are exactly the styles that can beat the other one. You know, if you watch Muay Thai and when he has taken losses, it's usually when the fighters are able to piece him up from the outside and be smoother, avoid the clinch, and basically just take him out on the outside. And that's what Anta Kasim does extremely well. He's fight from the outside because he's a very, very tall dude. And he uses that at length and reach very well in all of his fights. But then the style that can beat Anta Kasim is the style that eliminates that distance. And that's exactly what Muay Thai does. He's known for the elbow zombie. He will literally close the distance on you and fuck you up in the clinch every single round. And that's exactly the kind of style that Anta Kasim doesn't want to fight against. It's the kind of style that he wants to avoid. And that's why that fight is so intriguing to me. That's why this fight is such an intriguing matchup, because it's like it's a styles make fight kind of fight. I know it's a very common thing, but a cliche line to say, but that's literally what we're gonna get here. Is the opposite styles going up against each other, which makes a fantastic fight for me. You know, just like in any other sports, you got an extremely defensive team in football taking on a very attacking team in football. That makes for an interesting battle, right? So that's what we're gonna get there, and I think that fight's gonna go into a stoppage. I don't think it's gonna go all the way. Super amped, super amped. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, give me your thoughts in the comments, right? Sexan versus Sewer Black. Are you mad? I think that might be a Muay Thai fight, which is I'm not too keen on. I was very excited to see Super Black fighting in kickboxing. He looked phenomenal in kickboxing, and also why I think he looks good in kickboxing is because he doesn't get knocked out. Now I don't know previously when he was getting knocked out, maybe because the weight cuts were too big for him when he was going down to flyweight. Now he's sticking it out in bantamweight, which is beautiful because now he doesn't have to cut that much weight and he's looking a lot healthier now. He can take people's best shots. Whereas in the past, oh no, he was fighting bantamweight and those guys seemed a little bit too big and too strong for him. Now he's moved down to flyweight, and he looks better here. He looks absolutely better. He looks stronger. He looks faster. He looks healthier. When he was fighting bantamweight, people were able to starch him pretty easily. And now that he's fighting in flyweight, especially in kickboxing, he can take people's shots, which allows Black to really like do his best work. When he does go forward and march you down, he looks extremely dangerous. And his last performance against San Gatet was showcased why he looks good in kickboxing. So this fight, a bit surprised that it's back at Muay Thai, but it is against an opponent that can easily catapult his career. So if he gets a win over Seksan, I'm pretty sure that one championship will be like, yo, we're gonna put you in a bigger fight after this. Get the win over Seksan, you're gonna get a contacted opponent. You know what I mean? That's where I see that. I'm not too sure. Let me know in the comments. Is Sua Black contacted already? I think he might have gotten the contact after beating Sangatit. Just remind me of that. I'm not too sure. But if he is, then it's no surprise that he's getting Seksan. And I think beating Seksan is gonna, like I said, it's gonna catapult him into that category of fighters now where you're competing on a bigger stage. So if he wins here, the next time you will see Sua Black will be on a fight night card. Maybe even a numbered event as well. That's how big a fight is to beat someone like Seksan. Alessio Malatesta versus PTT. That's a second fight. I don't know what happened in their first fight. I'm struggling to find information on what happened in their first fight, but I'm all in on this one. I do think that PTT is a little bit of a big dude when it comes to the bantamweight Muay Thai division. Malatesta is not the biggest guy. Let's be honest, he's not the tallest. He is built really well, but he's not the tallest dude when it comes to that division. And PTT is arguably, you could arguably make featherweight even. That's how big he actually is for bantamweight. So super stoked. I think PTT didn't do too well in his first fight. So let's see what happens here. Malatesta is a very much a dog-like kind of fighter. He doesn't give you the time to breathe. He goes forward and he marches you down and he lets some heavy artillery come your way. And I think that's going to make for very much a car crash kind of fight. They're going to butt heads a lot in that fight because both guys don't like to fight backwards. Both guys want to be the one that applies the pressure there. So that's going to be a very, very fun fight. Someone's going to sleep, in my opinion. Yodek Pit versus Pompet number 2. That deserves a rematch just because the first fight was it was shady in terms of how they judged it. I think they gave it to Yodek Pit and everybody knew that Pompet won that fight. So I'm very stoked to see a rematch. And I think it's not going to be the same fight. I think Pompet's definitely going to get the job done there. Then we have Sam A versus Toilet Tet. The more I'm looking at these names, I'm just like, what the hell? Like, this is a crazy fight card to put together for one championship. Sam A and Toilet Tet. Great test for Toilet Tet to see where he's at. Especially with Sam A as well. I think there's like a 10-year gap between the two guys, or 11-year gap, which is massive. Might be even might be even bigger than that. Toilet Tet's 23 years old, 22 years old. And Sam A is 41. So it's bigger than 10 years. That's almost 20 years between the two guys. So yeah, but Sam A still fights like he's 20 years old. The dude still has it. He still has the championship mentality. He still competes against the best guys. I mean, his last fight was against Jonathan Diobella, who's now fighting against Prajan Chai for the unification of the strawweight division. But yeah, this fight is gonna be crazy, and I've got the feeling that Toilentet's gonna catch him. He's just too crafty for these dudes. He's very crafty, and his height is gonna be something that's gonna be difficult for Sam A to get around. But that's gonna be a crazy fight. Sankatet versus Ali Koyunku. I don't know who Ali Koyunku is, but he must be someone really good if he's gonna go up against Sankatet, who is for lack of a better word, he's getting basically a Chowdhury privilege. He's getting big fights as he's entered the organization already. So, yeah, looking forward to that one. Then we obviously got Anand's younger brother, Jonas Anand, taking on Hyun Hwang Pi. Don't know anything about Hyun, but let's see what this fight looks like. Obviously, Jonas didn't have the greatest performance. I say air quotation, greatest performance But in my opinion, he fought a fantastic fight in his debut fight. I think people expected too much from him because of what they saw outside of One Championship, and also he's the brother of Anand coming from the Mehdi Satu team. There's a high expectation of what we're gonna get from him, right? Is what he's gonna deliver. But it was his first fight. He's super young. You could see that he was very nervous, and he still won. He still won. So I think we're gonna get more from him as he progresses here. We just need to be patient with the young man. Not everybody's gonna be Sandro Bossi, for example. So yeah, I think let's just be patient with Jonas Anand, and I think he's gonna prove to people why he's such a great fighter. I mean, let me people forget that Bill's first fight was a loss against Superlek before he went on a streak, right? So just be patient, right? And then rematch between Rui Butolo and Zhang Paiman, the fighting rooster. I think Zhang Paiman won the first fight. That was, I think so. Let me just double check here. I think Zhang Paiman won the first fight. Just see here. And he's the former champion as well, the former bantamweight. Excuse me, the former strawweight kickboxing champion. So, hey, why aren't you showing me? Come here. I don't understand why I'm not getting any names. This website sucks. Like One Championship's website. Just so weird how like just can't find things and the lack of information. Yeah, so Botello won that fight. Here we go. 2023 November. Split decision. So yeah, very, very, very close fight. Looking forward to this one. Because both guys stylistically put on exciting fights. They're both gangsters, dude. They both throw heavy heat, and that's what I'm really keen to check out. Another rematch between really like high volume kind of strikers. And I really rated Zhang, and I forgot how young he actually is. And I think he won the title very early in his career. And I think now that he lost it and he can make his way back, it's going to teach him a lot of lessons, and he's going to come back as a much, much, much better fighter. Adam, Alif's younger brother, taking on Toma Kuroda, who is I think he's a K1 champion. Terminated his contract, let go of his belt, came into the organization, and is taking on a very, very good addition, a very good test in Adam. Though I think Adam doesn't have to take this fight, but okay, here we go. And then we have a fight between Enzo Clarisse taking on Juraishi, who's just, oh my word, just looked absolutely amazing in One Championship of note. Just lots of, I think he's got 2 fights or 3 fights so far, and all of it ended in finishes. Beautiful finishes as well. So that's going to be a crazy fight. But yeah, all in all, the 1-2-6 fight card just looks beautiful. So let me know your thoughts in the comment about that one. Yeah, looking forward to it. That's next week. And a lot's gonna change for the organization based on the results of that fight card in particular. But for now, I'm gonna keep it moving to my next story, and let's get that on the screen. So this fight isn't happening, but there seems to be some history between these two gentlemen. Right? Masaaki Noiri met up with Rukiya Anpo after the 173 press conference backstage, and as you can see on screen, look how they're bumping fists there. Rukiya Anpo is a massive featherweight. I don't even know how this dude's making the weight. He looks very, very big. They fought each other 4 years ago, so 2021, as you can see on screen. And Masaaki Noiri beat Anpo in that fight by a TKO. There was 3 knockdowns in the 3rd round, and Masaaki Noiri just put it on him. I'm gonna say this now. I don't know anything about Rukiya Anpo up until now, but I've seen a lot of gassing up online about Rukiya Anpo, and people are rating him extremely, extremely high. They consider him to be like this absolutely killer coming out of Japan. But Masaaki Noiri beat him. And also, we need to start putting respect on Masaaki Noiri. When I thought about it, I'm like, yo, this guy, when I saw this exchange between the two of them and the weight that they're putting on, or the amount of praise that they're putting on Anpo, made me realize Masaaki Noiri is actually elite. He's super elite then. Because he took out this guy. And then it made me think about the performance that he had against Tawanchai. And I was like, yeah, well then Noiri is actually top tier, like top tier. And I'm going to go and look at his typology page again, just to remind me of like what he's all about. And he's got a lot of fights. against the best guys in kickboxing, and he's got a fantastic record, and he beat most of them. He took some losses against some of the top guys, Kaito Uno, for example, but other than that, he really pretty much beat all the big guys that is largely considered today as some of the best, right? So I just want people to really think about like as a reminder of what type of quality Masaaki no Iri really is, and yeah, I think if he gets Tawan Chai again, he's gonna smoke Tawan Chai again, especially if they're gonna keep fighting in kickboxing. I don't know who's gonna beat him. I know there's Super Bond who fights very different to Tawan Chai and more favorable when it comes to kickboxing. But I don't know, eh? I don't know. I think Noiri's is a different breed, and I think Noiri's got tools to take them out. Super Bond's a very good kicker, and that might win in the early rounds against Noiri. But I think when Noiri starts putting on the pressure and taking out the calves and taking out the stomach, I think Noiri's got better boxing than Super Bond. So I just think that, yeah, in my opinion, early prediction, I think Noiri's going to win that fight. I think the match is favorable for him. But yeah, speaking of winning against Super Bond, there's something else staying with the storyline that Noiri mentioned, which I found quite cool. Just that quickly. Here we go. Staying on that storyline, this is also what he had to say, which I thought was amazing. Here we go. I will defeat Super Bond. So if Anpo has something to say, he should make sure that he wins first. And I mean, this is the same division. We know that Anpo is taking on Marat Gregorian. And I'll talk about that in a second. But that's you see what's happening here. There's starting to be a lot of storylines that's happening in One Championship, especially since they've started to bring in a lot of the Japanese fighters. And I know it sucks that they're moving out a lot of the One Championship champions, like for example, Alexis Barboza Nicholas, for example, um, Larice McLaren, Danielle Kelly. We just saw Terry Jerome, who pretty much should have gotten a lot more in the division, in my opinion, but they didn't give him a lot of fights. But I mean, just think about it. Like they're getting rid of so many good guys that are on good streaks. Some of them lost, but they were champions. And then what we've seen is a massive influx of Japanese fighters coming from K1, from Knockout, from Rise, and from Rise Kickboxing, but they're all coming over. And I think what that's created now is a lot of storylines because these guys have also fought a lot of the Thai fighters outside of One Championship. There's a lot of rematches that could happen. And I think that's actually showcasing that One Championship is really trying to do something big and different for the organization by creating these storylines. Because the more storylines you have, the more people are going to tune in. And there seems to be beef between the two of them. So I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, I hope that Noiri, excuse me, that Anpo wins against Marat Gregorian. I think it's going to be a tough fight for Anpo because Gregorian he's just a high level killer when it comes to featherweight kickboxing. But if he wins that fight and Noiri beats Super Bond, which I think he will, then we got a match. You know what I mean? Then we got a story that One Championship can sell to us, package it up in a bow, and then say, here you go, Masaaki no Iri versus Anpo 2 featherweight championship. Like it will sell. It will sell immediately. So I'm very keen on that one. But speaking on Anpo, let's take it to the next story, which will be my final one for the day. Just gonna go over some of the fights that has been announced for the 173 fight card, and I haven't even filled the card up yet. They're still busy with it. They currently got 14 fights on the fight card, splitting the card into two time slots, which is mad. So there will be the first 7 fights, then there's gonna be an ad break. Excuse me, not 7 fights. There'll be 7 fights, and then there'll be 8 afterwards. Maybe serves me well because there's 17 in total. So, and then there'll be a break in between, a short little break, and then I'll move into the next bout. So it's technically going to be like 2 fight night cards put into 1 year, which means it's going to be an all-day event, and we're definitely going to be live for it. So I hope to see all of you there when we go live for this one. It's going to be a long, long one. But looking at the 14 bouts, so we already knew about one and I already spoke about that one. And I will do a big preview about these fights closer to the time. We also know about the Rodtang Nong O. I was singing this praise ever since Nong O beat Kong Torani for the second time. Actually, when they fought the first time, I was saying the winner's going to get Nong O. It's going to get Rodtang. And then Kong Torani won in a very, sort of questionable fashion. And then they had the rematch. Nong O won that fight in a very, very clear, decisive decision. and that set up this fight. And I really knew back then. I was like, nah, this fight's gonna happen. It can't be anything else but this one, right? So we got it. Takeru, Denis Puric, you know what you get there. I mean, Denis Puric is saying he's gonna knock Takeru out, speaking about Takeru's weaknesses, saying that he has no more chin left. People are able to knock him down. They highlighting the fight where he fought against Tanzin, and Tanzin was able to knock him down. And there's a lot of truth to what Denis Puric is saying about all these knockdowns, right? But I still think Takeru is going to be the one that's going to win the fight here. Crazy fight to watch that we're going to get there. Um, Tough for both guys, but I think Takeru is going to get the job done. Yuki Super Leg, got no words. I've got no words. The winner of that fight is most certainly going to be the original and official kicking machine. And then we have a rematch between Ragrag and Anatoly Malikin. That's going to be a crazy one again. A lot of people are going with Malikin for the win. I can see it. I understand it. I also went with Malikin for the win, but I'm not going to underestimate Ragrag so much. So much. Because the question that keeps popping up in my head is, why didn't Malikin beat him the first time? You know what I mean? Even though I thought Malikin won that first fight, I still think he won the first fight, but he didn't. It's recorded that he didn't win the first fight. He got knocked down, taken down multiple times in that fight. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to ignore that. I can't, even though I try to, I just can't ignore it, because it's like at the end of the day, they must fight each other. They did fight each other, and it didn't go the way we all thought it was going to go. We all laugh at Ragrag's antics, and he's like a comical fighter, and he's just this weird, funny dude that does mad things in the ring, right? And everyone thought he was going to get knocked out by Malikin, and Malikin couldn't put it on him. He couldn't. So, yeah, we can't ignore that. So I don't think it's going to be as clear as day. Granted, I did feel Malikin didn't look like he had a very good training camp. I looked like he was taking the fight a little bit lightly, and he underestimated Ragrag. So that may be tipping into Malikin's favor in my head, but I'm not going to underestimate Ragrag again for that second one. Yuya Wakamatsu versus Joshua Pacquiao. I'm a bit gutted for this fight. I don't think that this fight should have actually been the fight. I feel like one championship, it still kept Reese McLaren in the organization. That should have been the fight. He was the next in line for Yuya Wakamatsu's title, not Joshua Pacquiao. Joshua Pacquiao's got other fighters that he can fight in his division. That division that he's defended in strawweight is already a stacked division, in my opinion, when it comes to strawweight MMA. So he didn't really need to have to take this fight. But now we're here, and it's a little bit gutted. But it's going to be a good one. I do think Wakamatsu's still going to win because he's a pretty big flyweight. So, yeah, let's see how it plays out. Naraka Yoshinari versus Num Surin. We know why this fight's going to happen. It was supposed to be Naraka versus Song Chanoi. Num Surin beat Song Chanoi, and that gave him rightfully the title shot. And here we go. Now we're finally going to have an atomweight champion in the organization. And I think Naraka's going to beat him. Like he's arguably the best fighter in the whole organization in terms of style. You know what I mean? He just looks like no one's gonna be able to beat him. Maybe Sandro Bossi, but I don't know who can beat Yoshinari at the moment when it comes to atomweight Muay Thai. Then we got the rematch between Christian Lee and Ali Bekhruzulov. The first fight ended in a no contest due to a very nasty eye poke. But yeah, happy to see the rematch is going to be on display. I think no eye pokes, no nut shots, none of that bullshit. Christian Lee wins that fight. I think he's the better fighter. I think he's a better grappler. He's a better striker. Rasulov's a good adversary, but I think Christian Lee is just a lot better than what people think. And like, people forget, man, he was the poster boy for one championship for a long time, taking out best guys. So yeah, Christian Lee again. I think he's gonna beat Ali Bekhruzulov. Then Marat Gregorian taking on Rukiya Anpo. This is the fight we were talking about earlier. And again, there's an expectation on Anpo to win the fight from the organization and from the fans. But I'm not so sure. I like Marat Gregorian. I think Marat's style is, although it may be one-dimensional, people can't get past it. People are unable to get through Marat Gregorian. He's able to walk people down and knock them out, attack their body, and just make it an ugly fight for guys. So yeah, let's see what happens here. Anpo is a massive featherweight. I'm still very surprised to see how he's making the weight. So hopefully that he makes weight on that day. But I'm not too sure who's gonna win there. It's too much of a pick'em. But I think people mustn't underestimate Gregorian here. Stamp Fairtex is back, taking on Kana Manimoto. Crazy fight again. super high level former champions taking on each other. Hopefully Stam comes back with no injuries, and if she's healthy, I think she's gonna get the job done there. It's not in Muay Thai though; it's kickboxing, so maybe Kana Marimoto has advantages here. But again, Stam Vertex is the only three-sport champion to come out of one championship, and we have to put some respect on that name for example for Stam Vertex. So yeah, let's see what happens there. Rematch between Rui Demon Blade taking on Hiroki Akamoto, and I'm gonna go with Rui again. I think the way he beat Akimoto in the first fight was a completely shutout. Like Akimoto had no chance. And I think that's what's gonna happen again here. Suakim taking on Jake Peacock. Mad fight. I know what we had fighting with friends. Eddie speaks highly of Suakim. I speak highly of Suakim. But no one's able to get through Jake Peacock. I know Jake Peacock has been getting some kind of layups. Let's be honest, he's been getting layups. This is gonna be a big test for him here in Suakim. But I think he might be able to get Suakim out of there. I really do think so. So let's see what happens there. That's also a bit of a pick 'em fight for me, in my opinion. Itsuki Rata is back. She had her first win over a long time, a couple of weeks back. She's taking on Ritu Pogat, who's also a very good wrestler. Not too sure who's going to get the job done there, but I think the expectation is on Itsuki Rata to win there from the Japanese. And I do believe she's got more styles and more weapons than Pogat. I just don't know if she's going to be able to take her down as easy as what she thinks, because Pogat's a very powerful wrestler. And then obviously Giancarlo Bondoni taking on Rafael Lovato. That is a jiu-jitsu match. Some good grappling is going to happen there. Not too stoked about the fight, but okay, we got jiu-jitsu on the card, so let's go. And yeah, that's 14 fights in total, but there's going to be 3 more that will be added. Not too sure who that 3 fights will be, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be great fights regardless, because this is arguably one championship's biggest card that they've ever put together. So looking forward to that one. We have reached the end of our new segment, ladies and gentlemen. If you've liked the video, please do so kindly. Drop that like, click the button, drop a share, let people know this video is going to go out. And also give me your thoughts in the comments about these matchups, about the news. And yeah, just in general, just give me your thoughts. That always helps the channel big time when you're able to provide a comment or a like or a share. So much love to that. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for more content coming out pretty much daily here at Fighting with Friends. Tomorrow will be our new segment for UFC, and then also potentially I will be launching or releasing the One Friday Fights 1 to 5 review as well, a little bit earlier in the week this time. You don't have to wait for the day before the event. On that note, have a very good week, and I will catch you on the next one. Cheers.